Dave here from Amplify talking to Alex from KINGSWOOD, the mighty KINGSWOOD, and we're going to have
mighty KINGSWOOD.
We're going to have a chat.
But also, as you so
eloquently
and accurately deduced from my appearance, I do have a Jesus Christ-like element, a misnomer perhaps.
Well,
maybe maybe in a different life, you know.
But
who knows?
I think that you know, we were talking, we just, you know, before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about consciousness. I think that if you're going to create, or if you're going to perform, and you're going to do so in such a way that you're really going to engage people, you've got to do so consciously. In other words, you've got to just turn up and perform, or you've got to sit there and create from inside, not so much from sort of saying who did what and who's better and what's this and that worked, so I'm going to try that or whatever. It just comes out, and when it comes out, people connect with it obviously on different levels. And so I would think that you'd almost, especially having done it for a long time, do you all write?
I'd say I'm the primary writer, and then Ferg will contribute on some songs. But yeah, it's definitely between the two of us.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the questions that I've got. We can stop on any question and talk on any question. I am going to have to come back in when I start my Conversations with Dave series, and because already, you know, just from your energy, it looks like I'd like to just sit here and sort of keep asking questions.
Dave, we could go for hours.
We could go. I guarantee you we could. I guarantee you we could. Let's start. If we can do it, you know, I think part of the purpose of this, I was going to say there's two sorts of interview that I think work. One's a sort of a shorter interview that tries to get across information because the fans turned up to try and find out something. And so basically, if you can give them the information, terrific. And one's about exploration, because someone talks about something, maybe they break down, maybe they open up, and someone outside gets that from a different perspective, from an inside perspective, and watches because they actually get something and they might learn from that sort of experience. So
absolutely.
On this,
I'm more interested in the latter, because the former, anyone can just look up information about, you know.
Really? Do you want me to throw the questions away? Is that what you're telling me?
Potentially, yeah. Or you can use them as a prompt, and then we can go from there, Dave.
Okay, let's just see where it goes. All right. So the band have been together for 15 years, right? It starts somewhere. How does it start? Where does it start? Did you run into each other? Obviously, now that I know your age, it was obviously after school. It's not a school time thing. Could have been a uni thing. Where did you run into each other to sort of come together?
Your assumptions are incorrect, Dave.
It was, you met at school.
So Ferg and I have known each other since we were 9 years old. And when we were 12, we were in a band together.
Really?
And that is the inception and the beginning of all of this, and that's how it all began. And we were in a band called Sweet Garlic, which we thought was ironic at the time. But it turns out if you roast garlic for long enough, it actually does become sweet.
Really? So it doesn't stink, or it still stinks?
I think have I lost you there, Dave? You there?
It's stopping and starting, but I think for anybody that's going to get into this scintillating conversation, they're not going to care. So whether you,
there we are.
Here we go.
Hang on, what's going on? Come on, Dave, come back to me.
I'm here.
Where are you?
I'm here. We might have included. We might have.
Yeah.
Go on.
There you are.
Okay, so it starts there. So, and then it comes through.
It starts in primary school. We play 3 songs. One of them is Sweet Home Alabama. Sorry, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
Another is Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Yeah.
And the last is the very first original song called Living on the Edge. We play to sorry guys, can you just keep it down? It's very distracting trying to do this interview. And the last one is an original song called Living on the Edge, which which wasn't written by either of us. It was written by the manager of the band at the time.
A manager of the band when you were 15?
12, when we were 12.
You had a manager of the band when you were 12?
And our manager was also 12.
I'm going to clap a few times.
And then that's how the career really began.
And so how did... Generally, you'd find that when people are working together, and I suppose, you know, playing in a band can be fun, but as you start to develop it and start to become Kingswood and all that sort of stuff, there's a you know, it's rare for people to stick together. It's, you know, they go different ways, especially when you're young, because you're finding different things, different girls, different loves, different hates. You know, parents are jumping in there saying, what the F are you doing? And one's got, you know, ethnic and one's Australia, whatever the situation is. And there's, how did it stick together? Or was that just a miracle?
It is a complex system, Dave, as you stated. It can be very complex, and it is a multi-ethnic philosophical / scientific / political arrangement of all different people. And
so you broke and came back, or have you always stayed together, or did you?
No, we did actually break up. That show that I mentioned where we played those 3 shows was our first and last show at Sweet Garlic, which was opportune for us to develop musically in our own streams and then come back together after school around university time as Kingswood. Well, it wasn't named Kingswood at the time, but that's where it took place. I was studying piano and Fergus doing project management. We had 2 other members that we went to school with.
So
that formed the inception of the original Kingswood.
So it's spiritual.
It was very spiritual.
You'd think.
100%.
You'd think, because, you know, when you meet at 9, like I was saying to you, you know, you're just interested in turning up and throwing the ball and all this sort of stuff. If it starts from that sort of perspective, it's really easy to stick together in a sense when you're doing stuff later on, because you're just used to doing it in that sort of a format. You didn't turn up with a cultivated, you know, business sort of mind about let's come together and make bloody money and all this, and we're not making the money or we're not getting the numbers, and there's less of that sort of taking place, I would think.
There's not well, Dave, to continue to do this for 15 years, as you've mentioned, on the scale that we're doing it, money has absolutely no motivation.
Well,
because you would have considered it a huge failure.
I am exactly the same. My brothers all talk to me all the time because I had different successful pasts, and I've been doing this for, you know, 12, 13 years, and basically, you know, funding it predominantly, you know, doing a whole range of stuff. But it's a passion, you know, it's a passion because
it has to be the spirit that lives within you.
It has to be
at all times. Otherwise, there's no way you would do it.
So you have to
be compelled to do it.
You have to be. Do you and Ferg make the decisions, or is it a 4-way, or is it a band sort of process?
It definitely starts with us, but then there's always welcome
Input, yeah. I saw the way you told him to shut up. I saw the way you told him to shut up. I'd be scared if you told me to shut up.
Oh no, it's just we're all in a very confined space, and I'm trying to listen.
No.
And formulate reasonable thoughts, and it's just.
How would you describe your sound? And I say that on because you've talked about home being a realization of exploration of new sound. So how would you describe your sound, or that sound progression over time?
That's such an interesting question. How would I describe our sound?
Yeah, well, you know, if someone came up to you and said, you know, what sort of music do you play, or, you know, whatever, you know, it's like people talk to me about, you know, what does Amnplify do? And you've got to try and work out, well, what do we do? You know, that sort of situation. And I mean, ultimately, it's music. So, you know, you come together to play sound. If you got up on stage and did nothing, I don't think the punters would keep coming back.
I would say that it's significantly varied. My response to someone asking me that question was, just go and listen to it if you're curious. If you're asking me.
No, that's fair enough. So is it a combination of different things? And yeah, it sounds.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
And
what isn't?
What
isn't that?
That was a shit. That was a shit question. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That everything is a combination of.
It is.
It's
Okay.
a combination of our hearts and our minds and our musical adventures and exploration.
Where'd the fourth album? Where'd the fourth album originate? What was the evolution of Home? Especially considering the first three were pretty well received, very well received.
I would say Home is our fifth. Well, actually, arguing it's our sixth album. We've got Reveries after Juvenile.
Really?
And then we have our jazz Christmas album, which definitely counts in my eyes as an album. So this would be our sixth.
Okay, your sixth album then.
So here's to answer your prior question.
Hang on, I missed you. I missed that. Can you just repeat that? It went a blank for that sentence.
Our first record was a hard rock record.
Yeah.
Our second, not hard, somewhere between the lines of rock and hard rock and blues.
Yeah.
The second album was an exploration in alternative, almost folk soul with a bit of rock and roll thrown in there.
Yeah.
The third album was like a straight up indie rock record. The fourth album was a hybrid of a bluegrass, folk pop record. The fifth record was a jazz Christmas album, and this a southern rock old country record.
That's fantastic. So, and you find your fans go on the journey with you, obviously.
Some do.
Some don't. Enough. A lot do, obviously.
I suppose, but it doesn't really matter.
That's exactly right. The doing.
They're there if they want to be there.
The doing's just doing.
We welcome everyone.
You're going to do something during the day, and so if it's playing music or if it's sitting in a cell with Mandela, you're going to do something. So you've got to just make the most of it.
Yeah. That's right.
What's your favorite track off the album? Good Whiskey, Burning Holes, One Too Many Times have got some, kudos, I suppose. What's your favorite track? What do you like playing most? Dave Bruce, asker of hard questions.
It is a very hard question.
Most people say they're like my kids. How can you tell me which kid do you like?
Everyone who says that music's like kids.
Exactly. They're just not answering the question.
No, that's right. It's I don't think music is at all like kids. I think it's like the capturing of thoughts and moments.
Yeah.
It's just like pick a favorite moment. I respect that as moment. They're like my children because I put myself in them. So if you put yourself into everything every day, do you have the same relationship with that as you do?
Absolutely.
I get it because it's a spiritual thing, but
no. There is consciously there is only the moment. So basically, every moment is the most important moment in the world for you.
Correct.
So I agree with that 100%.
I really like playing Ain't Gold. I think it's track 5.
Yep.
I really like playing that live, but it's definitely not my favorite song.
Okay.
I definitely don't have a favorite song, but if I had to answer your question, the moment is everything. I'd say this current moment, Home, is the one that I'm reminiscing the most about.
Okay. Now I've got a question for you. Obviously, you've had success. You're like
depending on what your definition.
No. I think now you're just playing with the words because I think obviously I agree with you, but I think obviously by any standard you'd say you've been successful with all your different awards and all that sort of stuff. Most bands would love to have had Kingswood's track record, and
that's very kind.
And I'm sure they would. And at different stages and name, I've been putting up stuff for you for bloody 10 years. So you know, always saying, not the Kingswood every time I see it, you know, that old TV show, King, you know.
Yeah.
But you must, you know, everybody deals with everything. So everybody has depression every day, has joy, has whatever. It's multicolored. So how do you deal with the success that you've had and the expectation that you have every time you deliver something new? Like this album's coming out now, and considering you've had those ARIA, APRA, Triple J awards in the past, is there a thought that goes towards, you know, if we don't or if we do, and I wonder and all that sort of stuff? Or do you just, like, can you actually separate yourself and just continue to be in the moment and play?
And I'm actually finding it a lot more easier and easier the more we progress to let go of all that stuff. It's like it's more apparent when you're younger and you are running for things and you do get nominated and all that stuff, and you feel the weight of what that might how it may impact upon you at the time a lot more. And then when you get through it and you win some and you lose some, and then you actually effectively you reduce it all to nothing through experience, which is exactly where you want to be. Because the reason you started it in the first place is because you were inspired by sounds that hit your eardrum and were converted into electrical into your brain and turned that into something that moved you. That's the thing that started it, and that's the only thing that matters, and the rest of it's rubbish.
I agree. I agree 100%. Now I'm going to ask you something. It's a bit of a personal question. My view is the way to self, obviously, because we're conditioned humans. You know, we live in an ABC society where, you know, you get B and parents say get an A, and you get a job and someone says get a promotion and all this sort of stuff, you know. So the way to self generally is through the desert, because you've basically got to detach from all that learning, you know, create a sort of a vacuum and then start to fill the thing up so that you become someone different. Like you're talking about now, how you can let it go and all this. Where was your desert? When was your desert? Did you have a desert experience where you found, well, you know, it's probably continuing. It probably always goes on to some degree.
I was saying that continuous.
It is, but you know, to start subscribing to these sorts of beliefs, in my experience, it generally happens at, you know, later stages when you've had a triple bypass and, you know, you've lost a house, you know, all these major things occur. You go to jail like Mandela, all these major things occur, and you're forced to sit in space where you've actually got to sit there solo without sort of support and sort of work out, you know, go to the pits of depression or whatever, and then work out what you're going to do with it, and find that in your loss, there's almost a balancing gain. And in that balancing gain, you start to believe, hang on, there's something more to this sort of situation. And in fact, the feeling, you start to understand that the body and the feeling really surpasses the thought. And so you can go for 10 or 12 years doing stuff and losing money, and everyone says, what are you doing? And you say, I'm doing what I love.
That's right.
And that's, so for you, there must have been some period there where, you know, the boys were sort of saying, you know, a bit worried about Al or something like that. No, none of that happened. You just had some spare time and read the odd Tolly or something.
I've read lots. Always, I continue to read lots and I continue to explore.
Good parents.
Kind of great, amazing.
Yeah, so good. You might have a different foundation.
Yeah, the foundation is reasonably strong. But no, like you said, everyone has experiences of development. You've got to face treachery, and it's what you do with the treachery. Especially in the music industry. You know, treachery of life. It's all
anywhere where there's money to be made, there's someone trying to take it from you.
Well, there's money to be made every avenue, every part of life.
There is.
As soon as something can be commodified or exploited, which is just about everything, then obviously I do it to market. And once you have a market and you have economics, then it's like, all right, there are a whole bunch of rules.
So there's no
rules. There are now consequences to that market that can be manipulated.
Very easily.
Every aspect of life.
But in the TikTok age, it's a lot easier because the media can influence, and it does influence, and so they can get the media to you in all sorts of different ways to influence you. Back in my day, when you used to get a newspaper out or the TV had shut at 11 o'clock, they couldn't get to you the same way. And so you had a middle class and everyone sort of, had the same. Now you've got the rich guys that know how to make money and lots of poor people that keep on trying to do something to feel like they're worthy.
They're contributing, or they're in some way.
They're part of the game.
A status, yeah, absolutely.
So just getting back to that just quickly. So there wasn't a period that you can sort of look at that sort of says, that was I've learned a lot during that sort of.
Absolutely, that's like the entire history of the band in my life. It's constantly.
So the band has been. And is that because of the relationships, the close relationships that they sort of push and pull all the time and sort of make you?
Every facet of being in this thing is trialsome and rewarding, incredible, but it is not to the faint of heart at all. No.
Life isn't. So you just wrapped a tour through US and Europe. What was that like?
Incredible.
Yeah, good time.
The best time. It was I guess a way to road test or develop a proof of concept for what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But there was an additional caveat in that there were lots of audiences that didn't speak the language and had no concept of who we were, which is even better.
Yeah.
Because then
it's pure music.
Then you're really putting everything up to be tested.
Yeah.
Kind of, if you want to know the rigidity or the strength or the resilience of something, it's like having an elastic band, how bike stretch before it breaks. It's like we became the elastic band and the hands pulling it.
And you've been over before, obviously.
We've been to Europe a couple of times, yeah.
Did you notice anything?
This was definitely a rebuilding phase, given that the last time we were there was 3 years prior, in a completely different environment, socio-political context, where we hadn't had this crazy pandemic that sort of.
Do you notice the difference between before and after pandemic-wise? Are they hungrier? Do they seem hungrier now than they were before, or you don't really notice much difference?
There's definitely a difference. It's not as overt. It's not one of those things that you'd think it would be obvious, but it's not obvious. There's a subtlety in everyone's spirit, in the nature of how people do things, I suppose. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like quite a complex thing to perceive. It's somewhere between like reckless abandon now that everyone's glimpsed that freedoms and life can be taken away very immediately.
Yes.
But also incredible reservation at the same time to prepare for the next. It's such an unusual dichotomy.
Yeah. And now you see things like The Last of Us and stuff like that, on TV. It sort of keeps reinforcing the fact that, any day now.
Yeah. You see that with that hanging over people's heads creates a split. It's any day now, so fuck it, I'll do whatever. Any day now, well, then I should prepare. So, and you have that going up at the same time, creates a very interesting, environment.
The quantum for me is you're a part of everything all the time. So the fact that you don't think you are, that's just your own perception. But you're a part of everything all the time. That's why you've got to look after everything all the time. That's why understanding doesn't really matter, because, we use understanding. Scientists do, 100 case studies and theses and then come up with something that they're going to change tomorrow when they find something different. And we have a thought like, he just walked in front of me without saying hello. I fucking hate him. We have one thought and develop a whole narrative over it, or someone Jack, who you went to school with when you were 20, is now, he's got 4 houses and you've got none. So what a prick, and I can't why. And then you go into this diatribe of, you know. So I'm just.
Absolutely. I agree with everything aside from the past.
So no, but
understanding is not important.
No. I'm saying, let me rephrase that, because words don't really mean. If you lead your mind, that's valuable. If your mind leads you, it's not valuable. So understanding from the perspective of your mind leading that understanding isn't valuable to me. But if
do you mean, are you getting at something like passive acceptance? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Unconscious incompetence.
Unconscious incompetence, passive acceptance.
Because then unconscious incompetence leads to conscious incompetence, leads to conscious competence, leads to unconscious competence. So in that progression, as you start to understand that, hang on, everything that I believed in, Dad said, if I'm a lawyer, if I've got the house, I've got the money, etc., none of this works. I've got the beautiful, all this sort of stuff. Now you start to say, what does? And so then you go to people and you learn and you listen and you read, and then eventually you get to a place where you understand that all wisdom comes from inside you, not outside of you. So then you don't have to worry about all that reading. This is my view anyway. You don't have to worry about all that reading, because you can make every decision from inside if, this is the F part, if you accept that there's a source that you're attached to, and instead of going to your Atari for outcomes, you tie into source and let it come in.
I like the concept. I think it's missing some critical elements.
Probably.
Like you can't ignore external information, because that informs you, that connects you further to the source that you speak of. I think if you decide that all information is irrelevant, and that your ultimate presence and your ultimate being is enough to guide you, I don't think that is enough. I think you end up being instinctual then. And reactive.
I think the point I would make would be, you know, when you get to communication like this, the challenge is the words are never really going to be adequate, because
The words can be adequate. The words can definitely be adequate. You just have to use them incredibly effectively.
But you have an understanding of the words from your perspective, and I have an understanding of the words from my perspective. So when you say love, and I hear love, I might take it one way, and you know, you might have been raped and had someone come up to you.
Of course, words can be subjective. But
yes,
if you're saying that through subjectivity of language that makes language redundant, then not redundant. More so that you know, there's a responsible application of understanding. In other words, you're invested. Entirely, and the result would be to be even more careful with your words and to use them more effectively.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If they have
especially to yourself. Especially to yourself.
That's where it starts.
Fuck, why did I do that? Oh, fuck, I just, you know, every time you start bloody just taking an automatic reaction. So therefore, I like to think that this is like doing or whatever. This is observance. This is where I live, in observance, rather than
the observer is a very powerful
very
to embody. Absolutely.
Okay. A trite question.
Which story?
A trite question.
Yeah.
If you could tour with anyone, who would you? If you could tour with anyone, dead or alive? Obviously, the dead people would be alive when you toured with them, because they probably wouldn't be too active. Yeah. Which is the song, one of the three when you were back at 12. Oh my God.
But there's an additional element to that. I would love to form a version of Linacre where both Ed King and what's his name? He replaced Ed King. He was the little brother, Bassy. Steve Gaines. I would love a version of Linacre where both Ed King and Steve Gaines are in the band and we tour with that version of Linacre.
Boom. Imagine if they were on the US and Europe last tour. Would have been even better.
Oh my god!
All right.
Oh,
Okay. So you're in the midst of your biggest national tour. You told me the Loop.
the 30,000-kilometer loop.
The 30,000-kilometer Loop. How does it differ from overseas? How do you find touring here differing from touring over there?
It's a lot more. The conditions are more fierce. Oh, that's not true actually. Yeah, it's more grueling because you have to negotiate longer periods to get to smaller communities. Whereas Europe and America you don't have to travel far.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Europe, mate. Europe maybe is little distance, not much. In America, like every 10 k's is a city. There's eight service stations and 4 bloody, because they're made for driving. Everyone drives.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Europe's the same. Like we did a lot of our training in Germany. So as far as like the autobahn concerned, we're about to drive like 5 hours, and to get halfway to a show, you drive 5 hours, you're out of Germany. You could be in a different country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and it's a bit different traveling on the autobahn at 110 miles an hour than.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So having said that, what are you looking forward to, and what commitments are you going to make here to the fans, so that if anybody listens to this, they're going to hold you accountable when you turn up to their town? Yeah, I don't expect you to make too many commitments.
I'll make a commitment for you right now. We're going to deliver the best shows that we possibly can in the history of the band, which is a summation of our whole career to this point.
And is everyone at that place? Is
100%.
So they're there. They're all involved.
Everyone is entirely here at President's Spirit, and if they weren't, it wouldn't work. Because when you're asking someone to commit 6 months of their lives to what we've already established as grueling touring, you have to be 100% there. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And everyone is, and not only are they, everyone's as excited as me. We cannot wait.
Where are you at the moment? Are you in a bus or?
I'm on the bus.
On the tour bus.
I'm being filmed by our documentary maker, Darcy.
Oh my God, Darcy.
Joshy, the drummer, is sleeping quietly. We've got Braden out front. And then if you've seen the mirror, Ferg, give us a wave. Ferg, give us a wave.
Good on you, Ferg. That's superb. What's all this, dude?
And then that's the bus.
Dude, when Dave toured with Foo Fighters the first time, he put them in his little van that he started with, much earlier. He had millions, and he put them in his little van. He didn't have beds. He didn't have beds and where are you?
He probably did it wrong. He said that our first ever tour was in Ohio.
Was it?
So yeah.
I would think from
scale.
One of my 3 core values is adventure. So I would think, I've often thought about getting a bloody van in my old age, getting a van, labeling it, Amplify and all that, and being the old guy that just travels everywhere and covers music events and,
I think that's exactly what you should do, and you should start it today. What's stopping you, Dave?
What's stopping me? You're right. What's stopping me? What's stopping me is
if you're at some point you're going to die, and that may be very soon, or it may be in 50 years. You may break the record for the.
It sounded no, it won't be. It won't be in 50. I've actually got a few operations I've got to have at the moment, but that's all right.
But my point being.
No, I agree.
If this adventurous spirit is in you, don't leave that stone unturned.
Boom.
That's exactly the philosophy that led to this.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. So I'm all for it. I've got to work it out at some stage. You're right. I get too caught up in because a part of me is a low self-esteem guy over the years. I've always performed for the power or the for some sort of a reason to feel valued. And so I know a lot of people, just the same I was talking about with money, most of the people ask me for free stuff and I don't care. So I give them free stuff. So I've got a lot of people that I know, and a lot of them keep turning up and asking because they're just normal humans that will get away with free. We've got a strange music environment. I keep telling the artists, they say, I haven't got a budget. I say, if you haven't got a budget, go and work at McDonald's for 12 months and find yourself some money and come back, because money makes money. You can't make money. You can't make money if you're sitting on outside IGA with a cup and asking for coins. You know, no one's gonna believe you. And so, you know, that's why you turn up and you keep turning up and you keep turning up and you develop a name like KINGSWOOD.
That's it. That's the only way to do it, Dave. Keep turning up.
The only way to do it. And also you impress. If someone comes along and you pay them up front for something or other, they're going to be motivated to try and find ways to impress you further. And imagine spreading that around all the different people that you can influence. You're going to progress a lot quicker that way than you are thinking that if you save some money. That's the old, you know, bloody save some string sort of principle from 100 years ago. We don't live 100 years ago, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Do you still have, obviously, we conscious people live in the moment, but do you have any long-term aspirations still as a music artist?
Yes. Develop my production and engineering career in composition and arranging and all that sort of stuff. Just essentially maintain and develop my musicality that I've had, and I've been very fortunate to have been afforded from the age of 7. My long-term goal is to take that as far as it can go.
Produce a rock opera on Broadway? No, not quite.
If at some point that's where it leads me, 100%.
Boom, boom.
I wouldn't
so,
say no
so
except maybe like Carol.
You'd say you're progressing towards it, because what you do is you do what's required as you keep moving. So as it keeps opening up, you're grabbing it rather than you're finding reasons. I like to think of things as, rather than saying, why did it happen? What am I going to do with it? So what you're doing is something similar. You're saying, what am I going to do with this? And how's it going to add to...
And it's a combination of that and a commitment to the fact that you've made that decision from such a long time ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the whole, you know, if you start at 9, you know, most of our dramas come from childhood, you know, because basically something happened to me pre-10, and I basically carried it probably all the way to here. And so I can think that if you start at 9 with this collegial, musical, development that just keeps evolving, it would feel very authentic.
Well, it has to be, as you said, like developmentally, like my psychology is entirely driven and intertwined with music as like a central core identifier almost. I sort of don't know I wouldn't know how to think otherwise.
Are you guys married?
No.
No one. Because I couldn't imagine that the mortgage married, artist could get away for a loop of the country. I'm not sure, maybe, unless...
I think so. I mean, if you look at like Benny Lumsden.
Yes.
She's amazing. Does that all the time. Same thing, just commitment to
the cause. Make it work. Make it work.
Also grab it as it happens, like you were saying before.
All right.
Rather than being like, oh, this is treacherous, difficult. It's like, of course, there is.
Okay. Actually, I'll give you this question after this other one I've got. Having performed to so many live audiences in so many different places, what's the best thing about it? Clinically, what's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
It's still the same thing that it was from day one. It's having the experience it is an exchange of you being moved in the observation of someone else being moved by something that you've created. It's like probably like something with like
Quantum.
a God complex.
Quantum.
Potentially, yeah. But also you're also removed. You become the observer in the moment.
Yeah.
So it feels selfish and selfless all at the same time because you're
Yeah,
enacting.
I get it. I get it 100%.
You're enacting the transaction without, but also being aware that you have no ownership over it. It's so unusual, even though you created it in the first place. It's very unusual.
And a
But
question.
that's still the same feeling, whether it's to 5 people in Czechoslovakia now, or it's 40,000 people in a stadium. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter.
I was talking to someone maybe a year ago, and they were stadium tourers, and I said, what's the best gig you've played at, or something like that, and he said, we were traveling through the US, driving through the US, and we stopped at some bar or some place that had 25 people in it, and that night sticks out in my head as the night when I really felt that was zen. So
yeah, that's unusual. I think that would come about if you became used to. There's a disconnect that is apparent when you do like large scale crowds, because it's very hard.
Yes.
To perceive like nuance in the way that humans experience it. It feels like
unless it's Freddie at Live Aid sort of thing, then the crowd maybe that's a bit different.
Yeah, even there, you know the crowd. There's no doubt about that, but it's not like. I mean, it's like anything. Everyone's addressed a group of people and then had a wonderful conversation. Which one feels more connected?
Yeah. All right.
I don't think that's the answer to. I don't think it's as simple as that. But anyway, that's a deep dive.
Yeah. What? Another trite question. What would you consider the career highlight so far? There's been a few.
One pinnacle moment. Is that what you're asking?
Well, if you can take it however you want to take it. You can give me any answer you want to give me. You can say the day Ferg, came out of McDonald's and he gave me. I was so hungry. It was 2:00 in the morning, and they had 3 hamburgers left, and he gave them all to me. I don't know.
The inception of a great song.
Well, which one?
Any, it doesn't matter. It's that feeling.
And what is when you say the inception of a great song? What is it? Is it the writing of it? Is it the putting music to it? Is it the band playing it? Or it's all of them at different stages.
It's all of them at different stages, but there's usually one moment that sort of confirms for you that you're onto something good. It's that moment. Well, it's maybe that moment that I would consider the pinnacle of being in this thing.
And what do you think?
It has to be.
What do you think of these people that just write songs in 10 seconds and they're fantastic songs? There's some of these, like imagine the Beatles. They wrote so many.
I mean, why does it have to have a constraint of time? Why can't that moment be?
There can be.
Of course it can.
All right. Here's we'll finish up on a few more trite questions. No, a few questions that people don't generally enjoy because it puts them on the spot.
Yeah.
Favorite album? Now it can be today or it can be all time. Whatever you want to do.
Favorite album all time.
Could be all time. Could be today. You can just say I just listened to, Billy Joel or something or other.
Ride the Lightning, 1984. Laska.
Too good.
I've definitely got. It's definitely given me joy.
That's too good. That's a great choice. and a great band. I think they sold a T-shirt or two, maybe 3.
I just got a Greek pressing from 1984. I've written a lot, which I'm excited to play.
And cherish. Favorite artist?
The Beatles.
Yeah. Why? Why would you say the Beatles? Because it's 50 years since they played. 52 years since they played.
It would be tied into my childhood.
Yeah.
And the imagery that they've evoked over countless years, the mythology around them.
The McCartneys and the Lennons, the stories, the way they pop in and out.
What they represent.
Yeah.
The development of popular music.
Yeah.
And also the way they threw it all away.
Yeah.
Everything about it, so interesting.
Yeah.
But then, and the thing is that all that stuff's great. Loads of bands have that same thing. Then you listen to the catalog, and then obviously George Martin as well as a part of it.
Yeah.
And all the characters around it, Billy Preston.
Yeah. And
everything.
And they were all they were all like Lennon was conscious on one absolute supreme level. Bloody George was fantastic on his level. Like they actually but there's a lot of I find that there's a lot of musos, once they get through, or to get through, you've almost got to become conscious, because you go through so many different life experiences and you get thrust in, and drugs and groupies and fame and all this sort of stuff, that your personality has to bloody.
We've definitely had those problems. Heaps of drugs and groupies and fame. It's what lets. Yeah. We almost didn't make it, Dave.
I could imagine. It'd be a challenge. It'd be a challenge. No, but you know what I mean. A lot of these people experience, what everyone would say is fantastic, and they get to a place where they just hate it because there's no, one of the things that I have an honest belief in, a real strong belief in, is the value of nothing, and so your ability to actually be able to be
content.
Well, but it's not so much content to be, able to walk and go in any direction without any drama. And a lot of these people have lost that completely. They've got no anonymity, and they can't walk outside their window without 100 bloody snappers these days catching them somewhere, or someone with a phone or whatever. And I would think that in itself, that'd be the worst, I reckon.
I can't imagine that would be.
That'd be shocking. Okay.
You hear all these stories of celebrities behaving inappropriately, paparazzi. I reckon I'd have broken hundreds of cameras.
Hundreds.
And I reckon most people would.
I'd be in jail every night, because basically.
Just do a test. Just have someone have a camera in your face constantly. Right? And just see what that feels like for a little bit.
I bet you can see 100% 20/20, and he wears those glasses because he knows you'll punch him in the face. He's only doing it. He's amazing. He's doing it for protection.
He's amazing. But honestly, imagine someone had their iPhone up next to you on you for a whole day. You'd go mad.
You'd go mad. And the thing about I have a view that there's that everyone's got a guru and a sort of a human in them, and even the gurus would probably punch someone in the head at that stage at different times.
Yeah, philosophically, sure.
Philosophically. Favorite movie? Oh. Does it get more trite than that?
Nah, but they're good questions.
The Sound of Music.
Oh, that's definitely up there.
I cry every time I watch it.
That's a beautiful film.
That love story is just amazing, and she's just a peach. Does it get better than her? And when you think that her best mate is Carol Burnett, and there's another person that's just perfection, she's unbelievable.
Yeah, the sound of music's got to be up there. It's stunning.
Indiana Jones. Just
No,
because.
I wasn't a huge fan.
No. Back to the Future.
No. Oh, now we're talking.
The series.
You know what? Probably Back to the Future 2 is one of the most watched movies in my childhood, and still to this day.
But you had to watch 2 with 3. 3 came out at the same time.
Well, yeah. One is amazing, and like Michael J. Fox is just like a hero of my childhood.
But I grew up.
I'll go so far as to say that movie definitely influenced me wanting to play the guitar. 100%.
I grew up watching that series as an avid TV watcher. 18, 20, whatever I was. That was the best series. He was absolutely spectacular in that Family Ties or whatever.
Yeah, Family Ties.
And then he went on to do that movie. And you're right. I've watched that thing a million times. So yeah, I enjoyed it too.
But there's also just there's a feel of movies from that era. There's something wholesome about it that is very comforting. Even the way the film, whether it was, gosh, would that have been filmed on film? What would it be, like 35 mil maybe? The feel of 35 mil. Also, everything about it has like a comfort to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you put them on, they just feel incredible. Like, and Marty and Doc's relationship and
what about when you're just staying on the movies for a sec? Do you see things like Hacksaw Ridge, and when they get caught up and you actually see him doing what he's doing? Do you get the feeling and sort of get choked up about how unbelievable it is?
I love it.
I do too. I do too.
Whenever we're eating, we're trying to get to cinemas. Whenever I'm off I go to the cinemas as much as I possibly can.
It's a great experience. It is.
I love the drive-ins. I love it all. Everything.
Well, I'm not a big fan of the drive-ins myself, but I had some bad experiences. Favorite place to visit?
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, when you're growing up as a teenager, come whatever, you're trying to, and you're not Kingswood with groupies, and you're trying to deliver conquests in a car. It's not exactly.
It's a hard place to deliver a conquest.
It is a hard place to deliver a conquest, and when they want to watch the movie instead, that's a challenging sort of experience. Boom, boom. Favorite place to visit?
Currently, Nashville.
Yeah.
First and foremost, yeah.
Still, is it still like it hasn't become a, everyone goes there and it's a commercial sort of.
Somewhat. It's still good.
Do you get up to Tamworth?
We did. We just played Tamworth. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you find that over the years? I presume you've been up there a few times.
It's first time this year.
Really?
Loved it.
That's a massive event. That's fantastic.
Absolutely loved it.
I would imagine.
It did have a slight feel of when we did Americana Fest in Nashville. It did have a similar feel. I would say the environment's different, but the feeling of it was, which I loved. I loved it. I loved Tamworth.
Yeah,
we parked the bus in the car park at the Tamworth Hotel. We were there for a week.
But you'll find, I think you'll find regional people appreciate. They take more time because they're doing things that are probably a bit slower than the city. Maybe not big regional, but most of those, like Tamworth's not what you'd call it. I suppose it's a big regional, but it's not like Newcastle or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'd say Tamworth's small.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I had cousins in Gunnedah, which is about 40-50 miles from there or whatever. And I ran away from home. I ran away from home twice when I was 14. I ran away from home when I was 14, caught 2 planes under an assumed name, and got up there. When I got up there, I got a job in the abattoirs at 14, 1972. So
what a story.
Yeah, it is. It's a story. Favorite venue to play?
Anywhere in the world?
anywhere in the world. It's all right. I'll cut out all this dead space. No, I won't. I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
No, keep it.
No. It's all. I like your profile. Every time I see your profile, all that hair, you can just imagine. I haven't got any hair anywhere. I dream about having hair, and you've got so much of it. And I just think you're greedy. I just think you should share it with some people that don't have hair.
Whilst I've got it, I'm going to keep it all myself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Who knows when but that's all right. Favorite venue to play ever? I love the Forum.
Really, in Melbourne?
Yeah, I do love the Forum.
It is a classical place, though. It's got a good acoustic, and
it was a huge bucket list of mine, and I'm sure the rest of the guys.
When did you play it first?
First in 2015, 2014, maybe.
Yeah.
No, 2014.
Boom.
And then we did it again in 2018. I also loved. We've had plenty of amazing World War II bunkers in Germany that we've played.
Really?
Just out of this world, yeah. But we also I'm sort of jumping around the globe. We did a version of KINGSWOOD in COVID for this album that we put out called Reveries. It's like a very sort of folk bluegrass adaptation of Juvenile. And we had restricted capacity, obviously, as everyone experienced. But we did shows at the Corner Hotel in it was almost like a speakeasy arrangement.
Really?
Like tables. There was all these tables, black cloth and candlelight and all this sort of stuff. And we set up on the stage. We did 12 shows in a row because we were doing afternoon and night, and we did that over 6 days. We broke some record at the most.
At the Corner.
At the Corner, but
they've got that stupid thing, when it's full, you can't see. You get that side little stage. You get it bloody.
Yeah, so this wasn't that. There were only 60, 70 people. That's why we were about to.
Beautiful.
But and everyone was sat, and we had a little cocktail menu, and you could order what you wanted to come to the table.
Sensational.
We'd get up there. We had these beautiful chairs.
What were you playing? What album were you playing?
Reveries.
Oh, Reveries. Too good.
That sequence of shows in that time could be my favorite shows I've ever played, actually.
Wow. And talking about shows, you must have played with a billion people over the duration. Do you have I see some tours that come out time and time again, and it's the same 3 bands. They play together. Do you have some go-to partners for those sorts of tours, or are you predominantly, whatever? What moves you to play with people? Supports might be a bit different because festivals and all that sort of stuff, they have their own lineup. But if you're headlining, is it local people that are boom, or people you're giving an opportunity to, or everything? So you take it seriously, obviously you take it seriously.
Yeah. We've got we're doing it 100 shows though. It's no mean feat to organise.
It's unbelievable. And who's doing most of the work? Have you got a manager? You got a management team?
No, it's us. It's us. It's Fergus mostly.
Fucking hell.
Chip in as well.
That is unbelievable.
Everyone's amazing.
That's unbelievable because most musos, and I say that reservedly because I don't know most musos, but they sort of say, can you sell a few tickets for the show? No, mate, I'm a muso. I don't do the selling. And it sounds like what you've got there is, although he's a project manager, so obviously he's got a pretty good idea about what he's doing.
Yeah, he definitely does. But it also comes from
me,
as you said, 15 years of experience.
Yeah,
you can't really, you know what I mean? That you can stay
and what I find as you become more, and I'm not saying this in an elitist sense, but as you become more present or conscious or whatever you want to call it, work isn't work really. It's just what you're doing. So you can sort of apply yourself evenly over, even if you're 14 hours in, because really you're just turning up to do what there is to do there. So if you're making decisions about 90 shows, someone else might say, oh my God, that's ridiculous. And you're making a decision about one show and another show and another show and the travel and all that sort of stuff. And it's just a fluid sort of process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this one's probably difficult. Favorite food?
Steak.
Steak, red meat. That's
Red
what you.
meat.
That's what you tell me. Red meat's your favorite
100%.
food.
100%.
Favorite drink?
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Your Honour, the defendant isn't answering the question. I just said favorite drink. So if it's alcoholic, it'll have to be alcoholic.
E.H. Taylor, small batch.
How many people do you reckon are going to know what that is?
Not many.
Not many.
Bourbon,
That is sensational. That is sensational. It's a good pick. What can I say? Favorite person in history. Now you get some people that are saying, you get some people that'll say, you know,
my granddad.
Yeah, well, that's what they'll say. They'll say someone like that, and it probably is. That's probably a very apt.
That is my response.
Yeah, no, but it's a very apt response. You know, some people will say Martin Luther King or something or other.
I have no concept as to how to experience Martin Luther King other than through
media.
Media. There's no way I can affinity.
No, of course not. Of course not.
As far as the person, sort of usually the philosophy is wonderful, but I don't know how to experience that man. So
no. I was, you know, but they'll say something. I might say, I think Tolly's ridiculous. He's terrific and simple and consistent and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah, it's pretty it's pretty amazing that someone can put their ideas on a page and it can move you like so powerfully as to change the course of your life.
Yeah,
I do admire that actually.
Yeah. And you know, it's sort of without trying, because he sort of, you know, if he gets asked a question, it looks like it's the hardest question he's ever been asked, and it takes him about a minute to answer, and then he sort of just flows into a pretty simple answer, and they're all pretty straightforward. It's an in the moment sort of thing. The thought doesn't really. That's probably where I get the understanding. My understanding, you know, I see understanding as a bit of a foe. He talks about thought being, you know, when you're thinking, you're in form and you really can't be present. So it's that sort of a situation. I sort of say, you know, if you can keep out of understanding or keep out of analysis and just keep an observance, well, then the water just keeps flowing. As soon as you stop to try and analyze something, well, then you're missing something, because there's other things that are happening that you're missing. So it's just that sort of a thing. But it's words really, because ultimately, like, you know, Ferg, and when he has a conversation with you about something, you know what he's talking about, and you don't really know me. So you can sort of get something from it, but over the course of time, you'd sort of learn, you know, more about that sort of a situation. You dismiss some comments because you know that they're not what he means, but you understand what he means, and in that sort of scenario.
Yeah, funny though that you only arrive at that place through analysis or like reflection.
That's right.
You can only arrive there, you know. That's
right. It's sort of a we live in a lateral world rather than a literal world, because basically I contradict myself when I make some of these statements. People can well and truly pull me down, but
the only way we even arrive here is through contradiction.
But it's a pretty cool cop out to sort of say, look, I don't subscribe to understanding. So when someone sort of tries to hold you to account, you can say, well, listen, you know, I don't need to make sense because I don't really subscribe to it. Okay, favorite tattoo? This is basically the last question. Do you have a tattoo? Sorry, you're broken up again. Just wait a sec. Come back and I couldn't hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
All right, we're back. Sorry, favorite tattoo?
Yep.
So I missed the rest of the question, or there was no other question part of the question.
No, it was just favorite tattoo. And if you don't have one, what would you get?
I wouldn't, because I don't have one.
You really don't have a tattoo?
No.
You must have, over the course of a bloody music life, had people sort of say, you know, come on, and this or that, or you've seen so many people with them, or you've never been motivated to get one.
Oh, I love them. I just love them. I just observe them.
I love them for their unique. I love seeing them on people because they're like
Me too.
A unique statement. But
yeah, I love them.
I've never got one either because I've never thought about.
I just don't. I'm not compelled to get one.
No,
maybe one day. I'm not sure.
I haven't thought about what I'd put on, so I could never. I sort of come because if I put it on, it'd sort of have to have. Anyhow, doesn't really matter. That's it. Yeah. That's the end of the. That's the end of the formal questions. You know we could. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. We can.
What's that?
You know what we can do? Because you're courageous, but I'd probably have to cut it out. That's the only thing. Are you courageous?
Of course.
I've got a fuck quiz.
A fuck quiz?
Yeah. I've never done it with anybody.
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, we're going to do the inaugural. You're going to be the inaugural member of the fuck quiz. And what I was going to do is I was going to do this fuck quiz, and when I got to the end of it, sort of have a label. You know, you've been fucked by the guru, sort of thing. You know, they'll make a good T-shirt or something like that, and then tell Dave Grohl, you might have been in blah blah, and you might have done this and you might have done that, but have you ever been fucked by the guru? No.
That's right.
Maybe I couldn't do that. Hang on, let me get. I'm going to have to find the questions here.
Is this a quiz that?
No, you're going to understand it because as soon as I get into it, you're going to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
I shall pull it up. Yeah. And I probably will. You know, I want to start a pod or something.
Yeah.
To have these conversations. I've always wanted to. So that's the thing I want to do. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Fuck is a word that in my view is probably the most widely used for its expressive value. For me, a fuck moment is one that takes your breath away. And I use that term regularly when I'm talking to people, or if someone's coming to get mentored or something like that, and you're sort of trying to explain, you know, when was the last time you had a fuck moment? It took your breath away, and they sort of say, oh, maybe, you know, last Thursday or something like that. And I'm saying, you know, in every step, you've got the potential to go, fuck, touch, smell, this, that. That's what's open for you. And so I use it in that sort of expressive thing. In fact, we had a situation here where, you know, I was trying to explain to the guys about, you know, the word fuck. So we'd have, you know, everything that we had on our Google Docs would be, you know, the fucking this or, you know, the fucking that, because I wanted them to understand that it wasn't just the, you know, layout, it was the fucking layout, so that it sort of had more expression. And I'd have some Zooms when I'd have things open, and all people would see if they saw the recorded Zoom was fucking. And I thought, oh, I wonder what they think's going on here. Anyhow, so you see something amazing, your body says fuck with a sigh. Someone comes out from behind the door, you say fuck, surprised, and stand startled. So someone calls you on the phone, threatens your life, you put the phone down, it rings again, and you tremble saying fuck to yourself under your breath. I think you get what I mean. So here are some questions that allow you to relive those expressive memories. What was the last fuck moment you can think of?
Waking up today.
Yeah, where you actually said, looked out the window and said, fuck, you know, it's nice, or whatever the situation was.
Not even just the fact that it's like you look at a tree and you're like,
What was
the fuck?
Now, along the same lines as our best questions before, what's the greatest fuck moment you can remember?
Discovering music.
Was that a moment?
It was a moment.
And how old were you?
5.
Really?
5.
And it really
4.
And you can basically remember it.
I can remember it as clear as day.
Oh my God, that is so unbelievable. You are such an interesting chap. What was the scariest fuck moment in your life? When you were fucking saying fuck with fear?
When I was about 21, I ended up in hospital with a virus that it would constantly release, made my body secrete adrenaline.
Oh my
like
God.
Crazy. I know it was legitimately the first time I thought I was going to die.
And did you work out what it was quickly, or
in fact, no, I was in there for like a night, I think, and then the next day I just had this massive rash all down one side of my body, and like fever and like crazy like symptoms, and it was like some virus that made me secrete like mass loads of adrenaline. It was really wild, a crazy experience.
Oh my God, that would be scary. When was the last time you used fuck as a weapon? You fucking prick. Fuck you, you bastard. You're not that sort of guy, are you? You can't remember.
No. I'm enacting the timeline. Probably 2 days ago. 2 days ago.
Yeah.
On the road.
Can you say
an incident of road rage?
So it could have been okay. So an incident of road rage. That's fair enough. What's your favourite fuck phrase, or what expletive partnering word do you prefer? So obviously you effing see, or do you have a favourite fuck phrase? Fuck me. You know, some people say fuck me.
Yeah. Let's say, what do I say? Fuck me? What? Probably fuck that. Probably fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that. That's why I'd say that. I'd say that more. Yeah.
Do you
fuck
use fuck as a useful and structured tool in your communications, or
absolutely,
or do you use it like a machine gun, spraying fucks all over the place without cause or conviction?
Both.
Both.
Depends on the context.
Does your environment, you know, family, religion, work, lead you to hide your fuck use, or do you associate
not at all
a fuck-free speech paradigm?
Not at all. It's definitely a fuck-free speech paradigm. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Would you prefer to live in the opposite environment? Of course not.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. Use the word fuck in a sentence to describe your past. It is creative too.
Fucking incredible.
There you go. So is that a sentence, 2 words? I suppose it is.
Of course it is.
One
word is a sentence.
I didn't say to put in a verb, did I? Use the word fuck in a sentence to describe your present.
Fucking incredible.
Use the word fuck
with a laugh.
It's to describe your future. Fucking incredible.
Hopefully fucking incredible.
There you go.
But most likely.
Finally, you are now an honorary Amplify fuck buddy. How do you feel?
Excellent.
There you go. Boom, boom. Well, that was a hoot. I'm not sure that we should share it. We should probably just put it in a bottle and throw it out in the sea and let someone find it in 10 years and open it up and read it.
Why not? Why not? Time capsule it. Of course. I like that.
I
like that. I like mystery. Mystery is wonderful.
I had no idea what to expect, obviously, because every time I turn up to these situations, most of the people enjoy communicating. So on a conscious level, I think most of the people, they may be living an unconsciously incompetent sort of existence, but inside them is that conscious sort of place that just hasn't been discovered. So when you can sit, sort of have a discussion that sort of generates some of that safety, then it's a cool sort of area. But I say to them, look, can you make sure you share it because we're trying to get outcomes and all this sort of stuff? They say, yeah, sure. And then as soon as they leave, it's like there's a floodlight when we talk and it's all clear. And as soon as you leave that, the floodlight goes out and all of a sudden you go back to, it's not really, for my social media and for this and for all that sort of stuff. So, there's one other thing too, mate. The last question is, where do I meet up with you? Obviously, you've got a spare bed in the bus.
We've got plenty.
Yeah. Well, where do I meet up with you to, because obviously you wouldn't want me just getting a van and going out there stag and sort of trying to experience this without support. I mean, that'll just
why not?
That'd be
the
crazy.
Stag. Come to the Stag. Meet us at the Stag in the back. Just look for the bus.
I could just. What is the Stag a place? Is it?
Stag and Hunter. Yeah, it's a place in Newcastle.
We will. I'm sure we will.
Wollongong.
I'm sure we will share communication in the future.
Connect.
We will.
Love it. Sounds awesome.
I really appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
We went for a long time, which was great, and I hope that it serves some purpose at some point. And but as an introduction to each other, it was terrific, and I really did seriously enjoy it. I really did. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks. Likewise, Dave. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
And have a great time. And if we can do anything, anytime, you and Ferg can just contact and we'll do it.
Love it.
All right, bud.
Love it.
Be well. Take care of yourself.
All right, my man. Take care.
Have that fucking incredible existence.
Yeah.
See you, bud.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, mate.
See ya. Bye. Bye.